Welcome and thank you for joining us today for the SPH Analytics webinar, Optimizing CAHPS for Added Value and Insights. We will have a question and answer session after each presenter today. Please type any questions you have for our presenters into the Q&A tab of the WebEx portal at any point during the presentation. We will also be recording today's webinar and will make the recording as well as the slide deck available to our attendees in the days following the webinar. Now I'd like to introduce our first speaker, Midge Coker. Midge is a Director of National Accounts at SPH Analytics and has been working with top-performing health plans across the country for more than 14 years. She brings more than 25 years of combined business management and consultative sales experience to clients, assisting them to clearly define survey research needs, identify quality improvement initiatives, and accurately measure performance. Welcome, Midge.
Thanks, Terry. Good morning, everyone. Today we'll look at optimizing CAHPS through planning, really important steps that need to happen as you plan for your year for the CAHPS surveys. We'll also look at some of the guidance that we offer and the expertise that we offer here at SPH Analytics. And that would be anywhere from not just the planning of the CAHPS implementation, but also some of the actionable reporting that we offer as well. We'll be joined today by Linda Lynch, one of our performance improvement consultants later on, and she'll go through some of the ways that you can gain deeper insights and increase your scores and ratings. And we'll also look at some additional opportunities for improving member and provider satisfaction today as well. For those not familiar with SPH Analytics, we're a healthcare performance analytics company serving both payers and providers. At its core, SPH Analytics is committed to helping our clients understand and achieve the triple aim. Some of you may have been familiar with our prior name, the Myers Group. Things haven't changed as SPH Analytics, but we've expanded our services. We now serve over 250 health plans, hospitals, and ambulatory surgery centers across the country. We're approved by CMS to conduct Medicare CAHPS, Medicare HOS, and QHP enrollee surveys, and are very proud to be celebrating our 20th year being certified with NCQA to conduct the CAHPS 5.0 survey. I mentioned our commitment to helping our clients understand and achieving the triple aim. We do that through our population care, population value, and population engage products. For the first part of our webinar, we'll focus specifically on CAHPS within our population engage product. And we'll talk today about the way that SPH manages the CAHPS family of surveys, our approach and the processes that we use, allowing our clients to actively partner with us, all the while knowing that their CAHPS surveys are being handled by experts in the industry. We manage all aspects of the survey process in-house, so from project management, quality assurance teams, typesetting, mail services, both outgoing and incoming. Our on-site call center is staffed by trained SPH Analytics agents, and our analytics staff that provides the in-depth reporting. We don't see ourselves just as a vendor that provides flawless data collection. We view ourselves as your partner in quality improvement. And with that, we also see ourselves as a valued resource, providing industry updates and in an ongoing basis. We wanted to talk today because we know the importance of properly planning for CAHPS. We wanted to talk through some of the things that we know are important as you lay out your plans to administer your 2018 CAHPS surveys. With deadlines for custom question submissions and decisions on sampling, we make sure to take the time to fully understand our clients' goals around CAHPS 5.0, QHP, and Medicare CAHPS. What's allowed for one isn't always allowed for another. For example, CAHPS 5.0 and Medicare CAHPS allow custom questions, but both have very strict deadlines for submission to NCQA or CMS. We provide a list of pre-approved custom questions for guidance, and we can provide consultation on how best to approach the use of custom questions. Just as a reminder, QHP at this time does not allow custom questions. Very early on, we want to understand if custom questions are needed to gain more insight or meet certain standards or state requirements. So we work with our clients on meeting submission deadlines for both NCQA and CMS. Oversampling, working with our clients to determine the level to oversample and ensure that they have enough responses to reach the 100 valid N for composites and domains to be reportable. Our account teams are here to help you meet external and internal QI needs for reporting. I mentioned oversampling to help ensure that there are enough responses for reporting composites and domains. There's another strategy to achieving more responses to CAHPS 5.0, and that would be augmenting. Augmenting the CAHPS 5.0 survey allows for you to stratify sampling to get more data for specific segments of your population. So understanding the impact a certain region or large provider group may have on your CAHPS scores would be something you could achieve through augmenting. One thing to keep in mind, oversampling is reported to NCQA and to CMS. But for the CAHPS 5.0 survey, when you augment, that's something that is for internal purposes only and allows you to, again, segment your population, see more data on that population, but it's not reported to NCQA. And the way that we would do that is we pull the core CAHPS 5.0 survey file according to the NCQA protocol, and after that, we're allowed then to pull additional members from specific groups and administer the CAHPS survey alongside the core CAHPS survey. Medicare CAHPS and QHP don't allow augmenting of that regulatory survey, and we'll look later on things that you can do to drill down for Medicare CAHPS and QHP outside of being allowed to augment. Reporting, I'd like to call out that you can check out our recent blog on our website and go to SPHanalytics.com and look at some of the things that we have available to our clients and to folks to understand what it is we offer in the way of industry updates and different things. But when you work with SPH Analytics, the reporting and analysis that we provide throughout the process, online reporting we'll look at a little bit later so you can track your results through administration, but also the end result reporting that you're going to get and the consultation that we come back and provide during that process. And of course, we'll talk a little bit later on some of the performance improvement strategies that we offer as well, both through going through final report reviews to digging down even further and talking with one of our performance improvement consultants. Whether you're new to administering CAHPS surveys or you've been conducting these surveys for years, it's always good to have the experience and guidance throughout the process. So as we've seen in the previous slides, there's several factors to consider that are important in working with a partner vendor. And we work with you to meet those goals for CAHPS. So really planning and reviewing the process in the very early beginning phases. So developing the scope of the project and understanding what internal performance goals and what external reporting needs you have. Working with our project management team, providing step-by-step so that you know what's coming next, what you have to do and what we have to do throughout the process. Walking through the guidebook and project kickoff calls and regular calls throughout the process. Regular communication, providing updates on where things are and what's coming up next and what you may be responsible for. We take a great deal of pride in the quality audits and the oversight that we have here at SPH Analytics. Being a certified and approved vendor carries with it a great deal of responsibility, and we go through a lot of different audits with CMS and NCQA, but we ourselves put ourselves through some quality oversights so that we make sure that the processes that we have are going to ensure that the data collected is pristine. I had mentioned the ongoing support and industry updates, so not just through our regular reporting, we also provide blogs and webinars, white papers, and case studies. All of those can be found on our website at SPHanalytics.com. I think the biggest thing that distinguishes SPH Analytics from any of the other vendors is our view of our partnership with our clients. So ongoing collaboration, understanding your goals, your needs, and then helping to meet those goals. We'll take a minute now to look at some of the reporting available. So again, not just the end result everything that you're going to get at the end of data collection, but things that you can do throughout the process to get a better understanding of where you are in the process and potentially offer some internal reporting to different stakeholders within your organization throughout the process. Our online CAHPS portal is available to our clients throughout the entire process. So once the survey goes into the field, our clients can log on to our CAHPS platform and look at results throughout the process. In this particular view, we're looking now at a commercial adult survey. It's actually multiple samples within one client. If you look over to the far right-hand side, there's a red arrow at the commercial adult. If you clicked on that down arrow, you'd be able to select very specific samples within that aggregate view that we're seeing now. So it gives you an opportunity to see aggregately how things are going with all of the samples. You can see each one of the composites and each one of the samples that fall underneath that. You can see the 75th percentile and the 90th percentile in yellow and green. And then each one of the bars underneath the composite, so say, for example, plan information on cost in the current year. You can see aggregate view of all of the commercial adult surveys, and then each one of the samples that fall underneath there, as well as SPH Analytics Book of Business and the NCQA public report for the prior year. And then each one of the summary rates there and where those summary rates fall as opposed to the 75th and then 90th percentile. So it gives you an opportunity to see high-level views, and then we can drill in to see sample views as well. And so now we've drilled in to look at one specific sample within that view. So before we were looking at all of the samples that fell plus the aggregate, and now we're looking at one sample. You'll see the number there, 1116680. That's an internal number to SPH Analytics. That's how we track the projects across the board. So you'll see those project numbers assigned to different samples. We're looking now at that test commercial adult sample 2017. Again, looking at plan information on cost, you can see that particular sample with a summary rate score of 65.9. There's no trending for this particular sample, so you wouldn't see trending there, although there is a placeholder. And then you can see the comparisons to our book of business as well as NCQA public report. One thing to note, we're looking at this at really looking at it at the composite level. You can also change the way that you view the screen. You can look at it on a grid view as well. You can also drill into very specific composites along the way. So this was early on in the process. Data collection had just started, and we wanted to look at customer service, for example. So we look at the composite itself for this test sample. You can see within the composite the two questions that make up the customer service composite, question 35 and question 36. You can see moving across to the right-hand side, the valid in. So far we've reached 13 people who gated into this particular composite. You can see the summary rate score both for the composite and each one of the attributes. And then the comparison to our book of business as well as NCQA public report. If there were any significant differences, you would note that we would see those in those last columns. So another view, another way to drill down to see more data. One thing that I wanted to point out as well, as you go along the process and you're looking at your data, there's an opportunity to export that data so you can run reports and then potentially deliver those internally as well. Not only can you look at some of the composites at the very high level, but you can also drill in and look at segmentation within the portal as well. So from this view, we're looking at overall rating, overall health status, and then looking at each one of the composites there as well. So you'll see the answer options then as being excellent, very good, good, fair, and poor, and then we also offer the comparison to NCQA public report. So it's a great way for you to get a view throughout the process of how the different segments of your population are responding as well. And again, another view of demographics and different segmentation here. And so now we're looking at demographics and how those members are responding as well. So really good information as you go through the process. As we've begun collecting the data, not only can you understand where we are in the process, what the timeline consists of, but you can also get more data. We know that everyone has internal reporting deadlines that they have to meet. This is a great way for you to go on and get ongoing, quick results and not have to wait for a project manager to give you an update. Although we do provide weekly updates, this is a great way for you to go on and get it at your leisure and when it's needed.
Now we'd like to open up the presentation to questions. Please type any questions you have for Midge into the Q&A tab of the WebEx portal. I have a couple lined up here. First question, does NCQA or CMS allow email of the survey yet?
They don't. NCQA allows for the CAHPS 5.0 to include an internet component. That internet component is achieved by including on the cover letter a URL link for the member to type in. So they've gotten the survey packet in the mail, it's got the cover letter in the survey. They have the opportunity to take that survey, the written survey, or they can log in online to take the survey online. QHP has the same opportunity. They're given a URL link to fill that survey out online. Email is not an option. The sampling is done in such a way to allow members to have an equal opportunity to complete the survey. We know that health plans are challenged to get email addresses from their members, so if we excluded anyone because they didn't have an email address, that would potentially bias the sample. So that's not allowed at this time.
Next question, how real-time is the data in your portal?
So the data, when it starts coming in the door, our surveys are beeped in our mailroom to let us know that there is a survey return. That survey has to go through a scanning and verification process. As well, if a member completes a survey online, that survey goes through a cleaning process. There are data cleaning rules assigned by CMS and NCQA, as well as any phone completes. All of that data is combined within our data warehouse and typically has to run through an overnight process during the survey cycle. So it's not like somebody completes the call on the phone, we hang up and it goes straight to our portal. It takes time to run through the cleaning processes here at SPH Analytics. So it's typically within a day to 2 days for that data to show up.
Next question, excuse me, if we augment, is that data available in the portal?
It is. Our augments are tracked with those same survey IDs that I talked about before. So it would not be aggregated within the data, not until the segmentation is reported at the end. You can track the results of the augments online, however.
For the Medicare CAHPS, how big is your book of business?
I will have to look because I don't remember off the top of my head because there are different sample types. There's MA only, there's MA PDP, and there's also PDP only. We can reach out and provide that information if you'd like. I just don't remember it off the top of my head.
Next question, what trend data is available in the online reporting tool?
Trending, if you have worked with SPH Analytics in the past, depending on the number of years that you've worked with us, our maximum is 2 years of trending, so current year with 2 look-back years are available, and that's what's available within the reporting as well in the final reporting.
And the follow-up question to that was, can our trend data show if SPH didn't conduct our survey last year?
Your trend data, if you worked with a certified vendor through NCQA, we could work with that vendor to receive your trend data. It would not, however, show up on our portal the first year because we have to work with the other vendor to get the data and ingest the data into our system. That usually doesn't happen until after well into the survey data collection for the current year. So it would show up in your final reporting. It would not show up online.
That's all the questions I have for this portion of the webinar. Next, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Linda Lynch. Linda is a performance improvement consultant at SPH Analytics, where she works with organizations to understand their survey results, member feedback, and healthcare data to identify improvement opportunities and appropriate next steps for improving quality and performance. Linda has almost 30 years of experience in healthcare market research and in driving health plan quality improvement initiatives. Prior to joining SPH Analytics, Linda served as Director of Market Research and Strategy at Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts and as Vice President at First Market Research in Boston, a national full-service market research firm with a large healthcare client base. Welcome, Linda. Linda, I believe you may be on mute. Can you unmute your phone?
Here we go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello to everyone out there. Now that you've heard all about CAHPS planning and administration, I'm going to spend a little time talking about improvement strategies and tactics. At SPH Analytics, we have a team of performance improvement consultants who can help you when you aren't sure how to drive the improvement through your organization. We have experience working on surveys, on plotting improvement activities from both an outside vendor perspective and within a health plan like you. As you just heard, I've worked in healthcare research for many years, but a lot of those were spent at Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts. And I was responsible for all of our survey administration, not just CAHPS, and I also co-chaired our Member and Provider Satisfaction Committee. That committee reviewed survey results, determined root cause of problem areas, decided what needs to be done internally to move things forward, and then implemented improvement activities and tracked progress. Well, because we have internal experience, we know what it's like to be in your position, we can work with your plan to review your survey data, including CAHPS or QHP enrollee, and any other survey research you may be doing, like provider satisfaction, call center satisfaction, image research, whatever. We look for common themes that emerge from the research so we can determine what your plan does well and where it falls short, particularly for many plans with regard to STARS or NCQA accreditation levels. And then we can then identify best practices for each of the weaker performing areas to help you make strategic and tactical changes to improve these areas. We also provide information and context for your organization overall so you can function more fully as a continuously improving organization, which is really the gold standard for health plans. Next slide, please. You see on this slide a list of some of the key characteristics of the best health plans. These are characteristics that we've gleaned from working with many of these plans and observing how they do business. These are the plans that always end up at 4.5 or 5 stars and usually have attained excellent accreditation from NCQA. You know better than anyone that being a strong performing plan requires a lot more than just simply the quality department hoping that it will happen. We also know that every health plan is unique from every other in many ways. But despite that, these common characteristics seem to emerge from those who perform the best. They have a strong executive commitment to improvement. It must start at the top. There's a shared sense of purpose across the organization, and everyone is working towards the same goal. The best plans use all their available data and information to understand their members, providers, and other stakeholders, and they share that information across their silos. Folks in these plans are held accountable, but there is tolerance for thinking outside the box and trying new things. Decisions take into account the perspective of members and providers, and ideally both really are sort of combined and considered in decision-making. The top plans aren't solely claims payers, but they act as a friendly resource for members and providers. And the best plans know that improvement and high performance is a never-ending process. You are never done. Next, please. Many of the organizations I've worked with also undervalue the role of a member or ideally a member and provider combined satisfaction committee. This group can be called anything, but highly performing plans need a group of employees from across the entire organization who are committed to improving the experience of their members. And I say providers also because my experience indicates that provider experiences are simply the other side of the coin. I think it's nearly impossible to have positive member experiences if there aren't positive provider experiences and vice versa. Combining the two perspectives often sets the best plans apart from the others. Whether your member and provider groups function as one or as two separate bodies, they need a strong executive presence, which goes back to the idea of strong executive commitment, with regular working meetings where improvement opportunities and activities are reviewed and discussed cross-functionally. This is where all areas of the organization are forced to work together to achieve their goals. Next slide. There are some basic strategies that the best plans use to continuously improve their member experiences, and these same concepts work for providers as well. The top plans look at everything through the lens of their members. Decisions are considered for the impact on members. This doesn't mean that you always favor the member perspective in the decisions that you make, but at the very least, a plan is aware of the potential downside for members and can take appropriate steps to mitigate the negatives. Highly performing plans think this way all day long, every day. The idea of considering the member is part and parcel of everyone's job, and it's enormously important that every single person who works at the plan understands how what he or she does either impacts the member directly or impacts those who do work with members directly. And again, where possible, involving providers and their office staff in these day-to-day decision-making and activities is ideal. Next slide. So how do you know what to fix? Sometimes plans leave member and provider feedback information untapped. They don't pull together the information from various sources to understand what issues members are having trouble with or are complaining about. There are a number of different internal sources you can learn from, and probably more even than I've listed here. One of the best is talking to your frontline staff, people who talk to members and providers, such as call center agents, provider relations staff, pharmacy staff, sometimes UM. These are the folks who spend all day talking to your constituents and know what's going on. Often these agents, these call-related people, are aware of problems before the problems show up on surveys. Talking to these individuals can often generate extremely helpful insights about member and provider issues. You also need to be sure you're looking at your call center data, the data that's quantified. Too many plans generate data from their call centers but don't really use it outside the service center. If you see problems stemming from other areas, you need to be sure to share that information back with those areas, so hopefully they'll be able to help fix problems. Some plans have a member advisory or provider councils that they can use to get feedback on specific issues. And often high-volume physician practices have a good sense of where problems lie and are usually more than willing to share their thoughts with you if you outreach to them. Of course, you always need to review complaints, appeals, and denial reports and see how the information there aligns with the other information you have. And if needed, you can convene focus groups, talk to members firsthand, and hear about the negative and positive experiences they're having with your plan. Next. Sometimes you've conducted your CAHPS survey and have a viable internal work group to set improvement priorities and strategies, but you find you still need more information to make the best decisions. This is where a CAHPS drill-down or simulation survey can be helpful. When I say CAHPS drill-down, I'm defining a drill-down survey as a survey that asks drill-down questions about the core CAHPS questions in order to better understand from the member's perspective what barriers, problems, or issues they have experienced, and that helps your plan design more targeted interventions. It takes the guesswork out of your improvement activities. This type of survey usually has closed-ended and open-ended questions, so members have ample opportunity to tell you what is and isn't working. A simulation survey is actually a replication of the core CAHPS survey, usually to see if progress has been made between regulatory surveys, or it's done with oversampling or sample augmentation to provide more information than your regulatory CAHPS survey can give you. For example, you might want to look at results among members seeing providers in different provider groups, or look at members with high deductible products versus others, or cut the data regionally. You can sample in such a way that isn't always possible with CAHPS, so that you have adequate sample sizes for any of these different groups of interest, and this may help you target your interventions to the appropriate audiences. Next. Before conducting either a drill down or simulation survey, it is really important to determine exactly what you hope to achieve. That will help you decide whether a drill down or a simulation is most appropriate. And if you know how you're going to use the results, if you've thought it through, then optimal planning can be done so the results are in fact what your organization wants and needs. A vendor like SPH Analytics can assist you and advise you through this decision-making process. We also take a module approach to our drill-down surveys. We've developed banks of questions on different topics, such as questions about appointments of specialists, pharmacy benefits, plan barriers to care, etc. So if you determine the topics that are important for your plan, we can quickly assemble a survey that will meet those needs. We don't have to spend lots of time up front developing a survey, which can really slow down the process. At SPH Analytics, we strongly recommend maintaining the mixed methodology of the regulatory surveys when we conduct drill-down surveys. But we usually limit the survey to one mail wave instead of two, and then the phone follow-up. This allows us to condense the timeline so you can get drill-down results much faster and determine improvement initiatives more quickly. For simulation surveys, we generally follow the exact regulatory protocol so that we have really apples-to-apples comparison. Now, since CMS discourages fielding any surveys among Medicare Advantage and Exchange members 4 weeks before, during, and 4 weeks after the regulatory survey timeframe, this means there's a survey blackout period of approximately February 1st to June 30th for surveys among these members. Therefore, our drill-down and simulation survey clients generally conduct their surveys in the second half of the year. Many make plans to proceed soon after they've received their regulatory results, so they have maximum time after getting their drill-down or simulation results to institute any additional improvement efforts before the next regulatory survey takes place. We've talked several times in this webinar about sampling. Clearly, if you wish to be able to look at results among various subgroups, it is important to determine that in advance and then work with your survey vendor on an appropriate sampling strategy before your survey is fielded. SPH Analytics is available for advice and assistance as you make sample decisions should you work with us. There are also some other surveys that can be beneficial to your improvement efforts, and Mitch will now return and take you through some of these options.
Thanks, Linda. You can see just how important it is in the planning process for CAHPS. So Linda talked about CAHPS drill-down and simulation surveys. There's so much more that goes into improvement efforts that we direct our clients with. So most organizations realize that CAHPS is only one component of their accreditation and member satisfaction program. So planning for CAHPS is a good time to consider other improvement initiatives that you can achieve through something like doing a call center satisfaction survey. Linda talked about really understanding what's happening within the call center and sharing that data. There's an opportunity to work with SPH Analytics to really understand the impact of what's happening within the call center to your members who are then rating you on the CAHPS survey. So following up with members very quickly after they've called your health plan customer service department and understanding and drilling down into the reason for their call, how many times they had to call, if they were transferred around, those kinds of things that are going to impact their satisfaction. We know that the CAHPS survey is very directional, and some of these projects then give you an opportunity to drill down even further. So like the CAHPS drill-down survey, the call center satisfaction survey drills into the CAHPS composite of customer satisfaction. Also, your ability to look at members that you're taking on within the health plan, we know that for the commercial adult survey, they had to have been a member for 12 months. But when that member is coming into the health plan, what are you doing as a health plan to onboard that member? How effective is that onboarding? How effective are the member materials that are going out? So that's really important as you look at members coming into your health plan and potentially retaining those members. So doing new member outreach calls, also doing new member surveys, and understanding the impact of the onboarding process that you have internally. Access to care audits. We know that plans have requirements to assess provider access, so that can be achieved through access audits to the provider office, auditing the office and their understanding of different appointment types and when they need to schedule those appointments. You can also do outreach to members who have just seen a provider and do member access as well. So again, kind of drilling in on that getting needed care, getting care quickly composite within the CAHPS survey. So SPH Analytics offers a convenient way to include some of that additional drill down and planning, and we call that our member assessment package. So as you plan for CAHPS, you can also plan for other survey work, so not just the CAHPS survey and QHP enrollee survey. We know that there's a behavioral health standard that needs to be met by health plans. So there's an opportunity to bundle services and do kind of an added value package, a member assessment package with SPH Analytics. As well, you can even think about as you do your planning whether or not you need some assistance through our performance improvement consultants to look at more things outside of just your CAHPS data. If you're doing other work either through SPH Analytics or even some things internally, is there an opportunity for our performance improvement consultants to work with you to look at that data and offer some assistance? So not only does the member assessment package save time and money, the member assessment package also adds extra perks that can help drive improvement and make the most of your CAHPS surveys and your other insight surveys work that you're doing. With that member assessment package also comes the executive sponsorship, so a member of SPH's executive team will oversee all of the projects that you do within that member assessment package. There'll be regular communications, as well as that executive sponsor being personally available. So not only do you have your project management team, your account team who's working alongside you, you also have an executive sponsor. So again, taking that partnership to the next level. You've got your designated project management teams, you've got everyone who's overseeing each one of the projects, but they'll also be meeting internally and discussing the projects and different timelines that are involved. And then through that process, we'll also set up monthly project reviews to help manage all of those balls that are up in the air for you all. You've got the CAHPS projects that's going to be going on. You may have some other things that are running alongside the CAHPS projects as well. So an opportunity for all of us to come together and help work the plan that we work so hard to develop.
Thank you, Midge. I'd now like to open up the webinar to additional questions. Please go ahead and type any questions you might have for our presenters into the Q&A tab of the WebEx portal now. The first question I have looks like it's for Linda. How long does a typical consulting project last? And Linda, you may want to, there you go.
No, I'm here. There's really not a typical project, but I guess I could say that 8 to 10 weeks is often a typical project length for someone that's just doing a limited member or provider satisfaction improvement project. Obviously, there are multiple product lines and multiple stakeholders you can drag out from that. But often from the time a contract is signed till you get your deliverable, 8 to 10 weeks is about the average.
Great. Next question. What do we get at the end of a consulting project?
Generally, the deliverables include a PowerPoint overview of everything we've learned. It outlines the opportunities for improvement along with best practices. And probably the best part of that is you're also can have an on-site presentation tailored to your needs with audiences of your choice, and not just go through the PowerPoint slides, such as reading them, but really have dialogue with the improvement performance consultant that's been assigned to the project, and have a lot of conversation and dialogue about the best ways to approach improvement, not just reading slides.
Next question, how expensive is hiring an improvement consultant?
Money question. It depends on the scope of the project, as you might guess, but it's not really big bucks. Probably for a typical, 8 to 10 week member of provider satisfaction project, probably looking in the ballpark of $10,000 to $15,000.
Next question, does NCQA have a member survey blackout period?
They don't actually. CMS is the one that imposes that on their survey samples. NCQA doesn't. I've heard through the grapevine they're not crazy about people surveying during that time frame, but they don't have a strict restriction on it.
Next question, how do you advise and support plans on preparing members for the CAHPS survey?
I think that's a combination of working with your sales team and input from the performance improvement consultants. But generally, there are some best practices, particularly around communications and positioning, that don't violate CMS or NCQA guidelines, but have been found to be helpful with health plans, that we can help plans for in terms of setting members up for the expectation about getting surveys, why they're important, why it matters to the health plan, and also serve as a reminder of the benefits they're getting from the health plan. Certainly in terms of just letting members know it's coming, that's not rocket science. If you're trying to perform a little bit of PR at the same time and you have plan performance that supports that, then we can assist you a little bit with that as well.
Follow-up question from the same individual. For support in looking at plan data, including calls and grievances, do you offer to do the analytics or support the plan in doing the analytics themselves?
To be honest, that's really work that we suggest that the plan do, but we really put that on the back of the plan to do that work. We can work with them once they have data, once they have the data compiled into information to see how it fits in with the themes that we see in survey data and other internal data, but we don't actually crunch any of that data for them.
Next question, how long does a typical drill down or simulation survey take from start of fielding to delivery of results?
Mitch, you want to take that one?
Yeah, depending on the methodology used, and I'm just going to throw out the mixed methodology. So if we use a one-wave mail with phone follow-up and getting to the reporting, start to finish, so we've got contract in place, we start fielding, it's anywhere from 9 to maybe 11 weeks to complete that. 9 in a perfect world, and that's allowing specific number of days in the field for the mail, specific number of days in the phones, and then allowing time to combine that data for the reporting. And I do have a follow-up for the question about our book of business for Medicare CAHPS. There are 120 contracts within the Medicare CAHPS book of business.
Thank you for looking that up so quickly. That is actually all the questions that I have at this point, so I'd like to thank Midge Coker and Linda Lynch for this enlightening presentation about optimizing CAHPS for added value and insights. As a reminder, we will email the slide deck from today's presentation as well as a link to the webinar recording to all of our attendees within the next couple of days. We also invite you to register for future SPH Analytics webinars by visiting our website at sphanalytics.com/webinars. We have a webinar coming up that might be of particular interest on STARS improvement. The date hasn't been finalized yet, but should be on our website within about a week, and we hope that you will all be able to join us again for that. On behalf of SPH Analytics, we would like to thank you for joining us today, and we hope you all have a great day. Thank you again to Midge and Linda.